So you're trying to buy a home in Spain, and if you are, you probably know the feeling. Something's different. The market is changing, and it's changing fast. So what's really going on? Well, we're going to break down who you're actually up against and, more importantly, what it all means for your search.
Yeah, that whole quest for a place to call your own, it's supposed to be exciting, right? But lately, man, it just feels so much tougher. And I'm here to tell you, it's not just you. The rules of the game have changed. Why? Because the players have changed.
That's right. You've got brand new competition. And we're not talking about just another family. There's a new player at the table. One with, well, let's just say they have incredibly deep pockets and a completely different reason for being there. Figuring out who you're up against? That is step one to surviving this new reality.
All right, Section 1, a new player arrives. Let's dig into understanding the rise of these institutional buyers. So, who is this new player? We're talking about big money, investment funds, large companies, and they are now a major force in Spain's residential market.
Okay, so this really lays it all out. You've got these two worlds just colliding. On one side, you have people like you and me, families, couples, individuals, just looking for a place to live. And on the other side, you've got companies and massive investment funds. Their goal? It's not about finding a home. It's about buying an asset they can rent out. And just look at the price difference here. They're paying on average 2,347 euros per square meter, while individuals are paying 1,887 euros. That's a huge gap. They're targeting the bigger, better located homes and, well, they're just outbidding everyone.
And you know, this isn't some small niche trend. We're talking about 21,000 homes. That's how many were purchased by companies in Spain just last year. That is a new record, the highest number ever. This isn't a blip, it's a massive fundamental shift in the market.
In this chart right here, this shows you that purchasing power in action. See that big gap between what individuals pay versus institutions? That's the premium these big investors are willing and able to pay to win. And the thing is, it's not just about them buying a few properties here and there. This creates this ripple effect. It puts upward pressure on prices across the entire market, and that makes it so much harder for regular folks to keep up.
Okay, next up, why Spain? Why now? And that's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? Why Spain? Why are all these investors piling in right now? What makes the Spanish market such a hot target for all this global money? Well, as it turns out, it's kind of the perfect storm.
It really boils down to these 5 big reasons. First, you've got crazy high demand for rentals, especially in the cities and on the coasts. At the same time, there just isn't enough housing to go around, a classic supply and demand problem. Then you add in the fact that Spain is seen as politically and economically stable, which investors love. And, of course, the big one, the potential for really attractive long-term returns. Top it all off with some favorable legal and tax rules, and well, you've basically rolled out the red carpet for institutional money.
And this quote, this really hits the nail on the head. Housing is increasingly treated as a financial asset, not just a place to live. This is the absolute core of what's happening. It's a huge shift in how we even think about housing. For this new, powerful group of buyers, a home isn't about shelter or a community. It's an asset class. It's an entry in a spreadsheet just like a stock or a bond.
All right, so now we get to the squeeze on home buyers. Because let's be real, this isn't just some abstract economic theory. This shift has very real, very direct consequences for you. Let's break down exactly how this trend impacts your search for a home.
So what does this actually mean for you? Well, for starters, there are just fewer homes available. Period. Especially in the best spots because companies are snapping them up. Then you're suddenly in a bidding war with these powerful cash-rich buyers who can close a deal in a heartbeat. Naturally, that pushes prices up for everybody. And hey, even if you're just renting, you're not immune. These investors need to make a return, and that means rents go up. Over time, this can literally change the entire dynamic of a neighborhood.
Okay, so the landscape has definitely changed. It's tough out there. But, and this is important, it's not impossible. It just means you, as an individual buyer, need a new game plan. You've got to get strategic. More strategic than ever before, actually.
So, here it is. This is your new strategic approach. Step 1, you have to conduct really thorough inspections. Look past the fresh coat of paint, especially with older places. Step 2, think long-term. What are the real costs? Check that energy efficiency rating. Think about future maintenance. Step 3 is all about the data. You need to be monitoring pricing, supply and demand trends in the areas you're targeting.
Step 4, be open-minded. Consider alternative locations, maybe some up-and-coming neighborhoods where the big money hasn't landed yet. And finally, step 5, and this is so important, work with independent advisors. Get someone who can give you a real, balanced view of a property's true value, someone who's on your team.
At the end of the day, here's the bottom line. Buying a home is always going to be emotional. Of course it is. But in today's market, just being emotionally ready isn't enough. The real key to success is being informed. It's about being strategic and letting the data guide you. It's a classic case of your head having to lead your heart.
And all of this leaves us with one pretty big question, doesn't it? Is a home a place to live, or is it just another financial asset? Because when a home becomes just another number on a balance sheet, what happens to the whole idea of home? That's the real tension here, and how we answer that is going to shape our communities for a long, long time.